In the hushed annals of history, where shadows intertwine with truth, a figure emerged, shrouded in an enigmatic aura that both captivated and terrified. He was known only as the Seer, a moniker whispered with a mix of awe and dread in the dimly lit corners of the globe. No one knew his origins, his true name, or the source of his unsettling prescience. He simply materialized, a spectre stepping forth from the veil of obscurity, carrying with him a prophecy so chilling, so utterly catastrophic, that it threatened to unravel the very fabric of human existence. His voice, a low rumble that resonated with an otherworldly authority, first echoed through the nascent digital airways, then rippled across every broadcast channel, every newspaper headline, every hushed conversation. It wasn't just a prediction, it was a pronouncement, a digital earthquake that shook the bedrock of global confidence, leaving an indelible mark on the collective psyche. The world, complacent in its fleeting peace, was about to be irrevocably changed by the words of this lone, mysterious prophet. He spoke not of wars or economic collapses, but of an existential threat, a cataclysm unlike anything humanity had ever conceived. His prophecy detailed a great dimming, a gradual, insidious theft of light that would plunge the earth into an eternal twilight. He described the sun, our life-giver, slowly losing its brilliance, its fiery embrace fading into a cold, indifferent glow. The seer painted a vivid and horrifying picture, crops failing, oceans turning stagnant, and the vibrant tapestry of life slowly unraveling under a perpetual dusk. It was a vision of a world starved of warmth, suffocated by the encroaching shadows, leaving only despair and echoes of what once was. His words, delivered with an unwavering conviction, were not merely a warning, they were a death knell, a chilling whisper of humanity's impending twilight that resonated not with fear, but with a visceral, existential terror that penetrated even the most cynical hearts. The very thought of such a fate, spun from the lips of this spectral figure, ignited an unprecedented global panic, a desperate scramble for understanding, and a profound, terrifying question: could this dark vision truly come to pass? Our story truly begins with the chilling specifics of Kalen's prophecy. It wasn't some vague, ethereal warning, no, Kalen spoke with the terrifying precision of a seasoned cartographer mapping out a coming catastrophe. He foresaw, with unnerving clarity, a cataclysm dubbed the Great Deluge, not a simple flood, but a complete reordering of our world's landmasses within the next decade. He painted a vivid, horrifying picture of continental plates grinding against each other with unprecedented force, triggering a cascade of earthquakes of magnitudes never before recorded, dwarfing anything in human history. He described skies choked with volcanic ash, plunging vast swathes of the globe into an eternal twilight, and oceans rising with a ferocity that would redefine coastlines, swallowing entire cities whole. He even went so far as to outline specific regions that would be hit first and hardest: the Ring of Fire igniting with a vengeance, the Mediterranean basin collapsing into a new, deeper trench, and the low-lying island nations vanishing beneath the waves, leaving no trace. It was a vision of utter geological upheaval, a planet convulsing and reshaping itself, leaving humanity a terrified, diminished witness to its raw, untamed power. But Kalen didn't stop at geographical destruction. His prophecy delved deeper, into the societal and ecological fallout that would inevitably follow. He spoke of a global famine unlike anything humanity had ever experienced, as agricultural lands were rendered barren by ash and salt water, and trade routes were severed by the chaotic new landscape. He foretold of mass migrations on an unimaginable scale, as billions of climate refugees scrambled for dwindling habitable zones, leading to conflicts over resources that would make past wars seem like minor skirmishes. The air, he warned, would become toxic in places, the water undrinkable in others, pushing countless species, including our own, to the brink of extinction. He even pinpointed the precise moment, down to the season, when the tremors would begin to intensify, marking the irrevocable start of the Great Deluge. It was a prophecy so detailed, so utterly relentless in its depiction of global collapse, that it was impossible to dismiss as mere ramblings, leaving an indelible stain of dread on the collective consciousness of a world suddenly forced to confront its own terrifying vulnerability. The world, still reeling from the cryptic pronouncements, found itself sharply divided in its reaction to Kalen's audacious claims. On one side, a wave of fervent belief surged, fueled by the sheer conviction in his voice, and the unnerving specificity of his predictions. Social media exploded with rapid-fire analyses, shared snippets of his broadcasts, and desperate pleas for more information. Conspiracy forums, usually bustling with fringe theories, suddenly found themselves mainstream, as everyday citizens grappled with the terrifying possibility that Kalen might be right. Religious groups, across denominations, interpreted his warnings as divine intervention, a sign of the impending apocalypse or a call to repentance. Panic began to set in within certain communities, leading to frantic preparations, runs on essential supplies, and even mass evacuations in areas Kalen had vaguely hinted at being particularly vulnerable. The sheer volume of fear and belief was palpable, a collective shiver running down the spine of humanity as they stared into the abyss Kalen had so vividly painted. Yet, counterbalancing this mounting dread was a formidable tide of skepticism, particularly within established scientific and journalistic circles. Reputable news organizations, initially reporting on Kalen with a cautious curiosity, quickly shifted to a more critical stance. Experts from meteorology, seismology, and astrophysics were paraded across TV screens, dissecting Kalen's predictions with precision, pointing out the lack of scientific evidence, and often dismissing his prophecies as elaborate hoaxes or the ramblings of a deluded individual. Pundits and satirists had a field day, mocking Kalen's dramatic delivery and improbable scenarios, framing him as a modern-day Nostradamus peddling fear for attention. Governments, while publicly downplaying the threats and issuing reassurances, covertly initiated investigations into Kalen's background and the potential for widespread panic. This intellectual pushback, while aiming to soothe public anxiety, also fueled a heated debate, dividing online communities and creating an atmosphere of intense distrust. Was Kalen a visionary or a charlatan? The world held its breath, anxiously awaiting more answers. The final warning. The air crackled with an almost tangible tension as Elias Thorne, gaunt and radiating an otherworldly intensity, stepped onto the global stage one last time. This wasn't a press conference, nor a meticulously orchestrated televised address. No, Thorne, in a move that baffled even his closest associates, chose a more primal, almost prophetic setting, an ancient, crumbling amphitheater nestled amongst the jagged peaks of the Himalayas. The world watched, not through conventional broadcasts, but through a flurry of shaky cell phone footage and whispered accounts from those who had, against all odds, gravitated to this remote location. He spoke not of political maneuverings or economic forecasts, but of cosmic alignments and the inevitable unwinding of a celestial clock. His voice, usually a measured baritone, now resonated with raw urgency, painting vivid, terrifying images of an impending cataclysm that would reshape the very fabric of existence. He detailed, with chilling precision, the how and the when, leaving no room for doubt or misinterpretation. The crowd, a motley assortment of true believers, morbidly curious journalists, and even a few skeptical scientists who had made the arduous trek, hung on his every word, a silent, captivated assembly witnessing what felt like the unfolding of destiny itself. As his chilling pronouncements reached their crescendo, a sudden, blinding flash of light erupted from behind him, not a natural phenomenon, but something far more profound, something that seemed to hum with an unearthly energy. The ground beneath their feet trembled, a low, guttural growl emanating from the very earth itself, as if in recognition of Thorne's dire prophecy. When their eyes, momentarily dazzled, adjusted to the vanishing brilliance, Elias Thorne was gone. Not a trace. Not a whisper. No footprints, no scattered belongings, just the lingering scent of ozone and a silence more deafening than any explosion. The witnesses, a collective gasp escaping their lips, scrambled in a frantic, disbelieving search, their shouts echoing against the mountain face. Search parties were dispatched, drones scoured the treacherous terrain, and every available resource was thrown into locating the enigmatic prophet. Yet, he had simply vanished. The world, still reeling from his final, devastating pronouncements, now grappled with an even more unsettling mystery, the inexplicable disappearance of the man who had dared to pull back the curtain on its impending doom. Now, the disappearance of Elias Thorne wasn't just a ripple, it was a tidal wave that swallowed every news cycle, every casual conversation. Was it a dramatic self-exile, a calculated move to amplify his already seismic prophecy? Some whispered of a clandestine organization, a shadowy cabal threatened by his inconvenient truths, silencing him before he could reveal more. Others, with a glint of the fantastical in their eyes, speculated about otherworldly intervention, suggesting Thorne wasn't just an oracle but a messenger, perhaps even an emissary from realms beyond our comprehension, recalled once his message was delivered. The world was left to grapple not only with the terrifying prediction of global freeze but also with the gaping void left by its enigmatic prophet. His empty armchair by the crackling fire, his unfinished manuscript on the desk, became symbols of a mystery that only deepened with each passing day. And what about the prophecy itself, the chilling pronouncements of a world encased in ice? As the months drifted into a year, and the signs Thorne had so vividly described began to manifest, the subtle yet alarming shifts in ocean currents, the unseasonable blizzards in unexpected locales, the growing unease among climate scientists who, with pale faces, admitted to seeing unprecedented anomalies, the initial skepticism began to erode, replaced by a cold dread. Was his disappearance a final, terrifying validation of his foresight? Did he simply know too much, seeing the inevitable unfold and choosing to remove himself from a world hurtling towards its frigid fate? Or was his departure a desperate act, a final, unheeded warning that we, in our hubris, simply refused to understand until it was far, far too late? The echoes of his words, once dismissed as ramblings, now sounded like the mournful tolling of a great, cosmic bell, signaling the end.